You see, today I really want to talk about the media hatred for Mikel Arteta. And I think it's something we all have been shying away for a very long time, but we really have to talk about it. So I'm going to be starting today's video with, of course, what they call the touchline antics. Because whenever Mikel Arteta over celebrates, whenever he celebrates over on the touchline, that is the term that is given to it by the media. They call it the media antics, and they have even given Pep Guardiola another name. Whatever he does, they call it, or they say he is the Pep clone. So for 4 years, the British media has tried everything to paint Mikel Arteta and to put him in a box. So right now, they are actually waiting for him to collapse. They have prayed for all or nothing drama to actually become a reality. None of these things is happening. But you see, while these pundits were busy trying to milk Mikel Arteta off the media, Mikel was actually busy building a monster team. So today we are looking at the receipts. We are looking at why the media truly fears the man who changed the soul of Arsenal Football Club. The reason, the man that we all have to be very grateful for, the man that has really, really turned us from a banter club to a proper club. I mean, if you are grown enough, if you watched Arsenal in, the 2017s of this world, the 2016s of this world, you will really understand the banter era. We were one of the most disgraced teams in Europe. We were playing beautiful footballs, and the only hope our fans had was that at least we had the ball possession. We had the ball possession was all we were waiting for, was all we were counting on. Playing against Manchester United, we played very well. We had the ball possession, but we lost by 1-0. Playing against whoever, we had the ball possession. Of course, we played well, but we lost. Playing against Chelsea, Drogba bullying whoever, playing against whoever, and our players were not playing entirely well. Manchester City was dominating over us. We lost, our aura. We lost everything about our club. Mikel came in, changed all of that. So how exactly do you expect the British media to love him? So we are also going to be talking about this double standard, the hypocrisy in our game and from the media. So when Jurgen Klopp ran onto the pitch, it was passion. When Pep Guardiola coaches every blade of the grass, whenever they get a goal or whatsoever, they say it's genius. But of course, when Mikel Arteta leaves his technical area, it is disrespectful to the game. These are the things we have to look at. These are the things we have to talk about. There are no emotions. And to think about the fact that a lot of our own fans are not even helping the narratives. A lot of our own fans are so emotional, and sometimes I can really understand them. And let me tell you why I say I understand them. You see, many of them are not my age. Many of them have not experienced Arsenal winning the EPL. A lot of them at the same time have not even experienced Arsenal, winning maybe the FA Cup. Yes, you can say, fine, we won the FA Cup in 2000 and I think it was 2020, 2019. 2019 to now is about 7 years. So for many of our young fans, if you remove 7 years from their age, not many of them would have really know what was happening at that time. So we have a lot of fans that are very, very young. I really, really want to see Arsenal winning titles. That is understandable. But the amount of negative tweets, negative energy that we carry on social media is also not helping, because we are actually feeding this media narrative of hatred towards our beautiful club, towards our dear manager Mikel Arteta. You see, it is. Let me say it this way: because Arteta doesn't play to the media gallery, he doesn't give them leaks. At the same time, he doesn't give them the palsy post-match interviews that they all want. The kind of media narrative that they can control. He protects his players like a fortress. We all know that. And the media hates a door that they can't open. When the media try to get something and they are not getting it, of course they form their own narratives. So Mikel, it defied the establishment. It defied what was on ground. The narrative is that, or this season that they are even using, is that Arsenal are lucky or are just a big spender, just like Manchester City. And the reality is that the numbers are historic when you look at what Mikel Arteta has done at Arsenal. And these are the things that Arsenal fans really, really need to consider. Hear me out on this stat. So Mikel Arteta now has reached 300 games with Arsenal with 177 wins. That isn't just good, to be very honest. You see, that is more wins than the legendary Arsène Wenger, who had in his first 300 matches, not win up to that amount of matches. I can't recollect the number of matches he has won, but Mikel is the one that has won the number of matches in the least, let's say 300 games. So it is even more than Bill Nicholson, more than Joe Mercer. He took a team that was eighth in the league because we all remember what happened when Mikel Arteta came in, as at the time when Emery was losing. When Emery, by the way, even took us to, Banku, where Chelsea demolished us in a disgraceful final, in the Europa Cup. And one of the reasons why we had Unai Emery was simply because of the fact that he is a Europa Cup tactician. He's an expert. He's an expatriate in winning Europa Cup, but he couldn't even win it for us now. So his first objectives there failed. Then we were hit for about 2 or 3 seasons. It wasn't entirely good, right? Then, when all of this happened, it took a team that is Mikel Arteta now from eighth position in the league, a team that was broken culturally, and turned them into the most feared defensive unit in Europe. As of 2026 this year, Arsenal is conceding fewer than 1 goal per game. Yes, the stats are everywhere. Everybody can see it. So this isn't luck. There is progression. Being second for 3 or so seasons in a row, being second against the Manchester City that is oil washing machine, against the Manchester City that had all of the finances. And even considering what Pep Guardiola has done this January, looking at the fact that, he is not entirely performing well, but he is able to inject millions and millions into the team again so that they can actually kickstart their season. They can actually still try to win a title. That is the kind of monster that Mikel Arteta had to, compete with. Prime Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, all of these guys at Liverpool. Because I was having an argument with somebody some days, and I was telling them that for me, to be very honest, apart from titles count, I actually prefer Mikel Arteta to what Arsène Wenger has done at Arsenal. I know it's a dicey conversation. I know it's an emotional one. But when you look at the metrics, when you look at where Mikel Arteta picked us up from, when you look at where we are right now, the respect that we command, even when Arsène Wenger was at Arsenal, personally, Arsène Wenger did not command this level of respect. The only thing that happened is in Europe, we had not so much pedigree, but at home in England, of course, we and Manchester United were top class, were top draw. But in Europe, we really did not even have so many pedigree. But this season, or previous seasons in Europe, since Mikel Arteta has been taken up to Champions League, we are beginning to command a lot of respect. So that is, structural dominance. So many things are also the things that we have to really consider. Remember when the critics came about dropping Aubameyang, remember, right? They said he was losing the dressing room. That Mikel Arteta, is beginning to lose the dressing room. Remember when he signed Kayava for I think £65 million or something? They called it a waste of money, right? He signed Kayava for £65 million. But look at them now. Arteta did not just buy players. He bought characters. He cleared out the deadwoods. Yes, he cleared out the deadwoods. All of the players that were too arrogant or that were not willing to play. Ignore the Twitter rules because, I mean, what is it with the manager with Twitter, of course, and built a squad with the youngest average age in the title race. So Mikel Arteta was able to defy the traditional horse by providing or by proving that you can actually win something with the kids. So if those kids are actually willing to die for the badge, so why not? And now we have a very, very strong team. We have a team that is less of a banter. You see now why the banters are not even working anymore is because even though that are making the banters know that they're actually talking trash. When you try to make something that is no longer funny. Because how do you banter Arsenal now? Do you want to say Arsenal bottled the league? No, you can't say that. Manchester City are currently the bottlers. And even using the word bottle is cringe. It is really, really very, very, very unserious. And this word came out simply because of the same media narrative that we'll talk about. So as I was saying, I mean, it actually defied the media narratives. And even apart from that, the media actually hates Mikel Arteta because it proved them wrong. It proved that you don't need to be a media darling to be a master tactician. Yes. It proved that Arsenal's way isn't just about, pretty passing, it's about fogging standard. That is how Mikel Arteta would say it. So the fogging standard now is where we are right now. And there was a time they said, is this the template? Is this the because Mikel Arteta do say something, he will say, I think we are in chapter 6 or whatsoever. But now the bans are no longer there. It is difficult to banter Mikel Arteta. It is difficult to banter Arsenal. Everybody can feel the titles are coming. Everybody can know that the titles are coming. So for Arsenal fans, I would say that let them talk, let them complain about the celebrations. But while they were actually writing, the headlines and whatsoever, Mikel was actually busy writing history. They don't hate him because he's cringe. They actually hate him because he's winning. Yes, he's winning. I have said it several times that title counts don't make great managers, right? Title counts do not make a great managers. They are just good for history. So North London is always red, and it's because of one man. It's because of Mikel Arteta. If you are one of those people that are Mikel Arteta out, tell me why you have Mikel Arteta out, why you cannot see progress in the project that Mikel Arteta has been doing, and why you actually don't see good things happening.